over time, I've started to say less and less with my business clients about the specifics of what they're doing. However, I like to point them in certain directions. Like, for instance, if you think about the principle of thought, the true nature of thought is that it's totally creative. And because it's totally creative and each of us has a free will, we each create our own world. Nobody lives in the same world, okay? As Sid said in the DVD we listened to yesterday, we don't live in the same world. We live in the same district, but we don't live in the same world. Well, what that's pointing to is the existence of separate realities, that everybody lives in a separate reality. Now, when you think about organizational structure and you think about people trying to run a human enterprise of some kind, separate realities become something that is so informative to people, okay? Now, we think just really big picture. We think a CEO that's trying to move a large organization in a new direction, wants to get a new culture, wants to respond to his marketplace in a brand new way. And between him and the people actually delivering services or making products is a whole range of human beings, okay, at all different layers and levels in the business. And it's kind of a daunting thought to think that each and every one of those lives in his own separate reality. So a CEO may put out a vision and a message about what he wants. And among his managers reporting to him will be some that get it very, very clearly and that are in sync, some who think they get it but are hanging on to something else, some who actually oppose it, and so on and so forth. So as you move down through, and with innocence, as you move down through the organizational structure, the story begins to change. So you get down to one group of employees who have a clear picture, who are really enjoying themselves, another department where there's a little bit of ambiguity and people are not sure about where they're going and what they're doing, and another department where there's a lot of strife. Now, when I just look at that with common sense, and if I had a group of leaders who were, first of all, introduced to the principles for the sake, put it this way, for the sake of mental clarity, confidence, and creativity, and they began to just have a sense of the existence of separate realities, what they would learn is that if you acknowledge the existence of separate realities and you respect the fact that they exist, it leads you to certain actions. And to me, the actions would be that maybe not the CEO, maybe somebody that he has working for him, and maybe he does too, first of all talks to the chain of command and said, we're in this together and we're going to find a way to create this unified vision. And so therefore, we're going to be talking to everybody, and I don't want anybody to be alarmed because whatever we find, we're going to coach each other towards that unified vision. And so I've seen many, many cases where the CEO and the senior team begin to sometimes even go down and do baseline jobs or go out and visit clients with consultants, whatever, and begin to see what's going on at all levels in their organization and then coaching everybody towards that vision, all in a very positive way. So a simple thing like thought is truly, truly a creative force, but it is also the source of separate realities. Just acknowledging that gives you so much direction on where to look and how to create a unified vision and a unified force moving forward in your organization. I mean, the way I'm working these days is I want a CEO to begin with that's really interested on the level of understanding that these principles create reality, that these principles create everybody's reality and everybody's functioning from them. Somebody like that who is a visionary and who has a dream, those principles will speak to his vision and his dream, and he'll become excited. Now, once we have that, then we can talk to broader groups. And I say that because I just know it's just a fact of life that as the head goes, so go the feet.
Yeah.
But, if we have somebody high enough in a department or we have a CEO, then we start teaching the principles. And I'll be honest, I back into them. I don't go in there talking about the spiritual nature of life. I listen to what they have to say, the world they're living in, and probably start with something more practical about thought. But the beauty is I know that I'm always leading people back to the real essence of the principles. And once they have an insight there, their thinking shifts. They begin to see more creatively. They begin to do new things. Like going down and visiting different levels of the organization is not something I want to recommend. It's something I want them to have a profound insight about and be totally charged up about doing. And so when we moved through the organization, we teach more people about the principles. You don't have to get 100%. I'll tell you what, if you give me a team of 10 senior managers or senior leaders and we affect 4 or 5 of them, that team will never be the same. I guarantee that team will never be the same, because there's a whole level of protection that occurs for each person that finds the true meaning of these principles and gets closer to their true nature. I like to say they get like a suit of armor because they can look at it all with security and confidence and without fear and without worry, and they see the innocence of everybody else's behavior, and they're not reactive to everybody else's behavior, and in doing so are really, really able to work from what I call a state of service. And that's where the change begins. All human enterprises are just that. They're human enterprises. And the degree to which people work together and trust each other and listen at a deep level, to my mind, is the greatest predictor of the long-term success of that organization. Because again, it's just thought. That's the thing. It's just thought. And people think what they're seeing is, just because they think it, they think it's real. Because they think it's real, they respond to it emotionally, viscerally, intellectually, as if it's real, you know. And when anybody shows them with love and understanding just a little bit of the fact that it's not, that we can think anything we want, we can create any kind of culture we want. It doesn't really matter about the past. We can get by it. For many people, that represents a lot of relief. And who doesn't want to live and work in a great team, you know? Who doesn't want that? It's just that people get to the point where they don't believe it's possible sometimes in some environments, you know. And I think those leaders that we meet who have some understanding of what human beings really are and the power of thought, mind, and consciousness, it's like they get that added to their gifts. They're already powerful leaders, but when they get that added to their gifts, they're able to export that understanding throughout their organization.